What's going on, guys? Good night. Welcome to the 8th episode of Parlor Talk. Tonight, we're hosting two really awesome guests. First up, we got Jeff Scott, who is by far one of the best wedding entertainers that I know, and a real personal close friend. So we're excited to host him. And then followed up by one of the hometown favorites, the mayor of Hoboken, DJ Cam himself. So looking forward to a really good episode. Kind of what the topic of today we wanted to touch on was going in between DJing weddings and how you prep for a wedding, and then how you would prep for a nightclub, and then some similarities, some differences. Maybe just kind of like, so you and I have a little bit of an open dialogue around this, both being wedding and club guys, just around that thought process and how you prep those crates and the music and the edits, and just all around, just open discussion about it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I literally pull out of most of the same crates, whether I'm playing nightlife or wedding stuff. Obviously, I have some that are more specific private event and some that are more specific nightlife. But really, a lot of the places that when I do get a chance to play out, because I've been super fortunate enough to be busy doing private events. So now I do nightlife stuff whenever I can fill in, which is fill in the gaps. But a lot of spots I end up playing are open format. So, I'm not specifically going into a place to play like one specific type of genre. So I literally do pull a lot from there. And I think it's good both ways, in terms of what I play at private events and nightlife events. I think it allows me to be a little more creative on both sides and make a lot of left turns on both sides, depending on the room I'm playing. So like my crates are, I'm not like Nick Spinelli crate organization. My crates are more like jumping off points.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because there's some people that label them very specifically, like 80s sing-alongs, right? As opposed to I think a guy like you and I would probably just have like 80s hits in general, right? And that's going to kind of guide us. It might be an 80s dance hit, it might be an 80s slow jam or rock or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And everyone kind of has, but I do believe it's like kind of one way or the other, right? I know guys that have no crates and they just search everything, right? And that's, that doesn't work for everyone, right? Or you're on the organization side, because I'll tell you, man, I learned really quick when I got into private events, and I'm sure you can relate to this when you started your journey, was you didn't know all the music, so you had to organize the stuff, because sometimes you were in front of a crowd that you weren't comfortable with, and maybe they were more disco, or maybe they were more 60s at that time, and you just kind of have to have that music in front of you, as opposed to I would never be able to search 60s off the top of my head.
Yo, and still, that still happens. I go into some events now just because everyone has 18 music apps on their phone. I go into some events too. I still got to do some homework if they're super specific in one area that I may not play a ton of. So, you got to be prepared. You don't want to get caught off guard, but just my brain's a little scrambled that way. I just kind of have general stuff on there. And I'm one of those guys that I can't really hop on someone else's laptop because my brain is wired to kind of know, almost when you used to play vinyl or CDs, oh, it's in the third book, it's in the where, it's yep. That's the way my thing is with my folders, So when I go on someone else's and their stuff is all over, I'm like white noise, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, my biggest pet peeve, and this goes to anyone that's watching on the live feeds too, and any of the young cats that are logging in, you need to not have duplicates, and definitely don't have missing files. That is, I would say, just pure laziness. And I'll go out there and say it. And if anyone wants to drop a comment to talk about it, I'm willing to talk about that, because the reality is you should be so familiar with your library, because it's your primary tool. And Jeff, you could speak to this. There's going to be groups of people, depending on where you're playing a wedding. It maybe a certain type of edit works, maybe a dancey edit works, and then maybe the original works for others. So what do you find yourself with the music coming out now? Are you preparing like that, where you have multiple types of edits and things of that nature?
100%. Like, especially like, just talk about nightlife stuff. If I go play at a nightclub versus a dive bar, like that edit's going to be different. You know what I mean? And depend on when I'm playing the song. Sometimes if I want to play a song because it's too new and I know it won't hit later, but like I might play like a down tempo in an opening set. And then in the private event space, same thing. I mean, we get couples, like SE absorbs couples from like all over the place. Sometimes it's from a corporate event, sometimes from another wedding, sometimes it's from they saw us playing at a bar or from college life or whatever it is. So, I mean, those edits may cross over. And I think that's what's cool about being able to play in both spaces is that you can I find edits now that, for music coming out that if I'm at a private event, I can please like, the aunts and uncles and the bridal party at the same time. Or if it's a, Sweet 16, the parents and the Sweet 16's best friends, so finding those blends are like of new and old together. I mean, for me, that's like my art. Cause like, I'm not like a scratch eponymous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. So, and I don't know how to produce music, but to me, I know what I think works. So I'm a guy that's always Googling like, this versus this and see if I can find what's in my brain that somebody put out.
Yeah, of course.
And gym life is like, even if I had a shitty workout, I know that I'm listening to like a new podcast. So I'm always like screen click. I'm like, yo, this would be dope for this wedding coming up, or this would be awesome for this bar. So I'll have like 25 screen clips by the time I get back from the gym, and then I'll go back, check it out, and find that edit that might work in whatever I'm trying to do, So I mean, that's how I kind of do my research, like with that.
No, and I love that. And I think there's a lot of like good stuff to extract out of that for the people that are listening is, go out there, listen to the other. You have to hear what other people are doing to get ideas for yourself. Because if you only listen to yourself, then you're never going to grow. And Jeff, I love that you're just digesting other people's content and then taking ideas from that and kind of putting your own spin on it. I think that's an invaluable piece.
Oh, 100%. Like, for example, so when I come see you on Friday nights, we get back early enough. Like, even when we cut after event, I like to come in because, I mean, it's kind of homework too, because those people are going to eventually get married or do whatever.
Yep.
So I want to know what they're bouncing to. So like, I see them in 2-3 years and they're like, we want to like, after, dinner, we wanted to turn up like Porter Friday night, 2015 or 20, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. I don't have to be like, holy shit, let me go on Billboard charts or let me go on whatever to check out what was, you know what I mean? So, right. I mean, going out, even if I don't go out to like play, I go out all the time, just like, let off some steam, but obviously it's a lot of homework. And I really try and go out to like people I enjoy listening to as well. Cause, it makes it more interesting for me knowing that guys that like I respect that play out. I know I'm going to hear some people pull out some stuff or stuff that like, they produce and like, I want to try it out. And I can kind of get to hear it, live as opposed to in a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think you made a really good point there. You were talking about, hey, I got to prep for an era of music that maybe you're not comfortable with, and you start with Billboard. That's pretty cool. And I think that's a good like starting path. But I think people need to kind of like humble up and drop the ego and just ask a person that has been playing that music. Because even if I gave you a crate of 60s music and you never heard it before, you're not going to know what to play, right? Because that's like that's just the hours and the experience. So just a tip. I think Jeff would agree with this, is just ask someone what to play in those areas that you're not comfortable with. I mean, like Chris and I were really fortunate to grow up breaking those 2012, 2013, 2014 tracks, just like you. Seemed like every other week there was some hit that we're still playing, 5-10 years later, which is crazy. But like, we lived through that music, so we know what kind of continued on like generationally. But like I couldn't 60s I only know because I watched other guys taught me how to play 60s music for private events and different things like that. But
yeah, and I was pretty lucky too. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I'm one of 10 like brothers and sisters.
No way.
So if you can imagine,
where are you in that list?
Can imagine my house as like the beta testing for Sirius XM, like every bedroom I grew up on. It just happened to grow up on like this. My one brother listens to this. My one sister, like, So I grew up on, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know it till I started DJing. I'm like, oh shit, my sister used to play this. My brother used to play this. My other brother used to force me to listen to this, whatever it was. So I had a good like upbringing, like musically in the broad spectrum of it, which is kind of cool. So when I'm digging for stuff and I hear like you hear like even like if it's like a cool like groovy housey version of a remake of a song or something like that, like that like kind of rings to me. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's dope for like background wedding stuff because like a newer groove, younger crowd's gonna respect it. And then like the vocals from the 60s or 70s or 80s track, the aunts and uncles are like, oh shit, I can hang, So like that's important.
Yeah, I think that's an important point you bring up too, because I noticed that too. At a lot of times, we'll start at these venues that are restaurants during the day, and then they slowly transition into a nightclub. So you get this like older crowd in there early, and you need to transition it, but you don't want it to be so corny that as the newcomers start to show up, they're like, what the hell's going on here? And they leave. So you need that newer house beat with that older recognizable stuff. And you bring up a really good point there, because I find myself playing a lot of that stuff in my early sets at a lot of these, nightlife spots around here.
And dude, I love opening sets. I think like that's the lost art, by the way. I know everyone says it all the time. Like, I was talking to Unique. I was a few months ago, DJ Unique, and I'm like, bro, I think I'm gonna like market myself as like I love opening rooms. I think it's so much fun because depending on the spot, but like I think a room as people drink, and obviously you have to create certain energy. I think the music narrows a little bit in certain rooms, but it's so much wider. Like when the doors open up, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of cool because like your job is like to get people to keep spending money at the bar, to have no reason to want to leave until it gets busy. And at the same time, like, how do I keep the like one hand on the bar and one foot on the dance floor until that room narrows and gets that? So I don't know. I love opening sets. I think I've gone like, especially go to Vegas. I hear some of these opening DJs, like you go out because we're for a conference, we get a night off and like, yeah, let's go, whatever's a group. But some of those opening DJs are like, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, damn, I forgot about that song. Damn, I forgot about that song,
Well, sometimes I feel like, and it's funny you say that, some of these places we go to, I'm like, what is going on here? Are they trying to get me to go drink? Because this is awful. But, like, you're there for the headliner. So, like, for those places, it doesn't even matter. They usually get these guys off the street. A promoter brings them in because they're bringing 20 friends and sold, a table and a half. And they're DJing for free for an hour before so-and-so set. And it like totally kills the vibe at some of these clubs sometimes. And I've seen that way too often. And I wish that aspect would change, but I feel like that aspect of this industry probably isn't going to change anytime soon, especially at these bigger clubs that are paying so much money for that top talent. They're going to do whatever. If they can get a DJ for free that's going to bring 20 friends and their 20 friends are going to pay, they're going to do that. Like, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way the things seem to be going right now.
At least in our market. But Jeff, you brought up a really cool point about like when you do hear talented openers, and I think sometimes in what Jeff was talking to, like in Vegas and some of the bigger clubs, like those openers are just their resident guys, and those resident guys are like highly talented guys, and they're opening up for Calvin Harris and Tiesto and go down the list, right? So but that's a really good point, because I'll every once in a while when we're out, like I call it like comp shopping and just kind of doing my research, but we take nights off and we're going traveling around hearing different guys play, and all the time I hear like, man, that 2016 track that was on the radio was a good one, and it's like it just falls to the wayside because we're so overloaded with information. At least from a music perspective, there's so much music coming out, you just can't tackle it all, right? So that's True. Ridiculous. But yeah, just,
and that works too. Like, even in like private events, when we do weddings, like we're live the entire time from the second the doors open. Even during dinner, I don't put on like Elevator's greatest hits and take my 35-minute union break or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Like, I don't know if everyone follows me on Instagram, you always hear me like shout out Bird. That's like the dude that works with me all the time. Like the doors open up and like same thing. You're setting the tone. Like it works. Like that's where the crossover is the same, whether you're doing private events or nightlife. Like you got to set it up. Everything's a setup to like the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that. So obviously, wedding's your main thing. You do you got your assistant, but you do the emceeing. So you host the event and talk on the microphone, and then you go back and DJ. So it's kind of like the one-man gig, with an assistant. But like talk a little bit about like your MC game, maybe some tips just around talking on the mic in general for guys that are interested in that, because I know a lot of guys that DJ, but maybe when it comes to picking up the microphone and like kind of addressing the room and having presence, maybe kind of talk to some of that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like an MC who MCs conversationally. You know what I mean? Like it's just not like shouting out to hit the post or just shouting out to the wall because these are the 8 things I have to say. I know like Artie, like I mean when I grew up in the club scene, I worked a lot with Bacardi Artie, and he was a mentor in terms of just like how you approach emceeing. Like when you can say anything to anyone and they take it the way you intend it, like you could never go wrong. You know what I mean? And for me, I take like me 5'3" is a weapon because I literally can say anything and get away with it because I'm not intimidating. You know what I mean? There's guys that are bigger guys that could try to say the same thing I do. Say they saw me at a club and they try and do it. The delivery won't work. You know what I mean? Like, so for one, you have to find your own delivery, like what you're comfortable with. Because if you're emceeing like just like robotic, it's going to sound like that, But for me, I MC conversationally, no matter where I am, no matter what I do. Even if it's in a formal setting, I still come off that way. So I'm setting up the tone. So as the room loosens up and I loosen up with my emceeing, I'm becoming more and more their friend. So, by the end of wherever I'm playing, my MC is more like I grew up with these people. You know what I mean? That's the way I approach emceeing. Right.
As you're like, so you're more involved in the party rather than necessarily addressing them constantly as a you and me or like us and the party over there versus just me talking.
Right.
That's
because if you're always up looking at the room, and even when I'm DJing, like when you always look at the room, you'll see like who the characters are, who you can play off of, So that's what I try and do. Even like bartenders. I mean, I know there's certain bartenders that are like, like do their thing. And if you're at a bar, you can play off of that. You play off of like shot girls or whatever it is, birthdays, groups, bachelorette parties, whatever's there. Some guy dressed really awkward, whatever it is, but you do it in a way that, you're poking fun with the crew, not at them. Like to me, that's the art. You know what I mean? And you'll win every time. They'll be like, yo, that's fucked up, but good one, like whatever it is.
Right.
And I do the same thing at private events. Like I do it the same way. Like I kind of get away with stuff, just because it's the way you deliver it. If you deliver it the right way. I mean, and the stuff you're always learning. Even when I go out, I hear stuff. I'm like, oh, damn. So I always learn. Like even when I go out somewhere and hear someone do a new show, like live bands are a great way to pick up MC tips. Cause like you're watching that performance to see how a lead might say something and a drummer might respond like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'll remember 2 lines from that. I went to Jenks last summer, like, yo, that's dope. I'll never forget that line. So like, and I'll incorporate it somewhere. I'll kind of twist it, make it my own. But like, you know what I mean? That's the way to do it. Like, you always got to like, keep working on your craft.
Jeff, what's your favorite go-to line? Like shocker line? Like shock the people in the club?
Well, so a lot of times what I do is I literally, like, if I'm playing something, I don't know what the line is, but my go-to thing is I'll literally put my hand on the platter and stop the music and talk to that person. I've done that a few times. Like, literally, so for example, I was working at River Rock, this place down in Brick. This guy walked in, literally looked like Jesus, whatever, and he like had like literally looked like Jesus.
Sandals, hair.
And I stopped the music. I just kind of talked to him, whatever. But I've done that at weddings too. This past weekend before we all got shut down, I couldn't get this fucking table to move. Like they were killing me. So I literally like hand on the platter and I was just like, does anyone know these people? Are they in trouble? Are they not allowed to dance? Whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I poke fun. But I could do it because I mean, for me, my delivery is like that. If you're like a big whatever, it may not work, but like I'm a hyper little squirrel mode, whatever. So I don't know if I have a one line, but my thing is to kind of like stop the show to create like, for me, it resets the room. It makes everyone stop what they're doing and gets their attention. And it could work or it cannot work. I mean, luckily I've been okay with it, but that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, I think delivery is definitely key there. Like there could for sure be some awkward moments if you don't deliver that the right way.
But that's kind of part of the Jeff Scott brand. I mean, pure entertainer, man. I've seen you do your thing, and I'm just fortunate to like be able to see that. I loved what you'd said before. We covered a lot of ground there in that kind of part there. But going out and seeing other people, see what they do. Go check out live bands for ideas, just around hearing how other people rephrase things. I know that I'm always looking for new ideas because you get into your routines. People kind of have their. I would never say that I'm scripted because I'm usually never reading from anything unless it's like a bridal party with like some crazy last names. But aside from that, I think people kind of get into their routine. So I'm with you, Jeff, is like the only way to really kind of go hear other people talk is you got to go, like, where else are you going to really hear an MC? Because for the most part, the good ones are doing weddings, and you can't go to their weddings. So I think
Right.
I think bands are
But
really good. You know,
there's a difference though. There's a difference though between like a routine, like being routine, and being your style. You know what I mean? You like there. I'm sure people come see you like they're waiting for the certain things you want to say because like that's your style.
Exactly.
You know, like you certain DJs that have certain cuts that they do. Like, you know, like that's their style. Not like because like when I go see, like I like going to see like Scratch Facet a lot because like I just like the people when he goes somewhere. Like I saw him in Philly, he'll bring out like local Philly dudes. Or if you go see him like somewhere, like, you know, I like that because I get to hear like different whatever. But like he does certain stuff, but that I do it because I like his style. You know what I mean? So it's not, to me, it's like, oh, I heard that. But yes, there's certain things that, you know, to me, it's a fine line being like stuck in a rut or a routine and then like just showing your style. You know what I mean? So I respect both sides of that, you know?
Yeah, and you got to play the fine line too, right? Because I think we've all been there, like especially at a club or a place that you play regularly, and you know, sometimes you're playing some of the same stuff, or maybe a couple of tracks in a row, or we know, you know, the bartenders are saying like, hey, you keep like calling out the same birthday shout out the same way. So it's like, I think being self-reflective, kind of humbling and saying like, hey, you know, I gotta kind of recalibrate. Maybe I can approach it, get the same effect, but just a different way, because you are there to like entertain the people. So I think that's really important.
True. Yep. Very true.
That's good. So, Jeff, tell the people, like, do you have like a website, jeffscottgould.com, or are you mostly Instagram now?
Yeah, I feel like myself and everyone else in our company, like we're like a you know, like a collective, like a group. So everything through like our world goes through SCE Event Group.
Yep.
Obviously like Insta is like my life and everything. So, you know, at Jeff Scott Gould for Instagram and pretty much everywhere else you can follow that, you know, that. But my Instagram, I try and keep my page very portfolio-ish, and then my stories is like the unshowered me. So like that's where I kind of do, you know, like whatever, kind of like what I was doing on Snap, but I kind of do it mostly on Insta because that's like where a lot of my crowd is.
Any thoughts to TikTok? Are you on it? Are you dipping in?
I am on
What's
it.
up?
I'm doing some stuff, but like I'm just trying to find like my way because like I don't put out shit just to fill the space because I know it won't feel authentic. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know what my lane is there yet, and I don't want to like put out the same stuff on my stories that I might do on TikTok. So I have a few things on there, but I'm literally on it every day. Like I walk my dog, I'm on it. And I mean, it's funny as shit because some people are so creative. And for me, just to like pull tracks, you like music. Cause I use TikTok at weddings all the time. Plus nightclub. Yeah. Even though some of them might be like, it's the quickest hitter you'll ever play. But as long as you play it, people are like, oh shit. You know, like, and then they do whatever they're going to do to it. And you know.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there because we were talking about this yesterday about how we're finding new music on TikTok. Like TikTok's the first place that we're finding these songs that are trending and they're getting popular through TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, you're on top of the game right now. And I think a lot of that younger crowd is very in tune with TikTok, and that's the crowd that's starting to show up to these clubs. That's the crowd that's showing up for privates. So I think it's very important to be in touch with this newest social media craze that's out there right now.
Yeah, because think about how everything is about streams, right? So in artists, you and I write a track, cool, we're excited about it, it gets signed, we release it on Spotify, and it does, you know, whatever, 50,000 streams, and we're ecstatic. But then there's the guy who produced something in his bedroom and it never got released, and you put it in a TikTok video and it gets 3 million streams on TikTok, right? So think about the level of exposure that some of these songs have, where we're not seeing them on the pools, they're not on the radio, but they're in this other ecosystem, getting millions and millions of plays to people that we could potentially be in front of, you know, especially like those Sweet 16 crowds and grad parties.
Yeah. So for me, I think like even any site, if you're not into it, as long as you're on it, so you understand it and you know it and you're reactive. So, you know, like a bachelorette party comes up, or even like, you know, like a lot of times at like weddings, for example, what they hear on the ride over on the bus or the limo, do like, oh my God, we want to switch up our song, blah, 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 you know, and whatever. So like, even like that, you know, like you have to know, like, cause like we do play quite a bit of them at private events. So like, just not even having to be on it, but just like in terms of like producing content for it, for me, as long as I'm relevant, I know what it is until I figure out how it'll work for me, then, you know, I'm kind of cool with that lane.
And I love that forward-thinking attitude. You know, it shouldn't just be like, well, I don't understand it, or I'm too old, or It's not like that. If you want to, like, this game is all about staying relevant in the entertainment business, period. Forget what you do to entertain. DJing is just one vertical of that, right? But when you say, how do you stay relevant as a whole? I mean, look at Shaq, right? The guy was arguably one of the best basketball players ever, right? And now the guy's DJing, and he's spinning up a DJ career by staying relevant on TikTok. And, you're talking about a guy that's probably in his late 50s, and you're like, we're all sitting here saying, like, how do we stay relevant? And look at what this guy did, picked up a PR agency, and they go, why don't you DJ? Right. And now he's DJ Diesel.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And what Khaled did on, like, when Snap was getting big, like, same thing. DJ Khaled's the same thing. Like, he was like the Snap god, like, same thing. So, like,
Yeah. And that's awesome, man. So I know, like, you do a lot of content, and you vlog a little bit too, right? Do you think that people like DJs and artists that are on now listening on the feeds, like, is that something they should get into? Maybe look into a vlog camera, put out content that way. Have you seen success with that?
Dude, 1,000,000%. Like, just stupid quick story. So this picture behind me was from a wedding we did last year in Ireland.
Shout out Bird.
So Bird took that picture, but this couple found me on Instagram. Like, literally, they were, and this, I mean, I could go on about this wedding. It was probably the most insane wedding I've ever been a part of, but it was just because of the content. And one of them lived in New York, one of them lived in Atlanta. You know what I mean? So, and she found me on Instagram in Jersey from Atlanta, not even the guy from New York. Right. So, you know what I mean? Like, so content is just like, I mean, you got to push it out, and you just got to push it out what represents your brand. You know what I mean? But vlogging is awesome because it shows what you do with like with the personal touch. So it's a great blend. So I try and do, like, super polished and like super whatever down and dirty and in between, but all thought out. But sometimes, like, you got to do a mixture of both, just so you're showing a human side, because that lets people connect with you, but also show that you're talented enough to, get hired for whatever they want you for.
Yeah, for sure. A photo's just a still. That's just one moment, whereas a video tells such a better story than a photo does. And I think that when you're trying to showcase your work, having a video to do that for you, especially when you're directly interacting with that video, is very important.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome, man. So, Jeff, I can't thank you enough for coming on today. Once again, Jeff Scott Gould from the SCE Event Group. One of the most talented wedding entertainers I know that's on the planet here, and we're just excited to have you to kind of just talk about, just relevant stuff, man. Just industry's talk. Thank you for coming on the Parlor. We appreciate you. That's it, man. Stay safe. We're looking forward to better days coming up over the summer. Everyone getting out of the house, and that's it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Jeff.
guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, we got the one and only mayor of Hoboken, DJ Cam, coming up. So sit tight. We're going to roll a quick reel, and then we'll be back at it in just a minute. Thank you.
Do you wanna blow my horn? Do you wanna blow my horn?
All right, very good. So I was talking live streams. Long story, very, very short. Quite a few DJs going live. Obviously showcasing their talents for their friends, their family, etc. Obviously good from a content perspective. So what I was noticing was quite a few DJs were going live at the same time to try and, I guess, organize the madness or the chaos, rather. We started a live DJ schedule, and then it kind of evolved into Ledge Fest. And obviously I love it from a branding perspective, but it also makes it fun for everybody involved. And essentially we put a flyer out every day posting who's going live when, along with what type of vibes to expect, whether it's EDM, whether it's house music, hip hop, throwbacks, R&B, etc. What I've noticed, and it's really great for the DJ community in general, is it's showcasing some young talent that may have never gotten this opportunity before to really showcase what they could do. You never know who's watching on the other side of the phone. You got promoters, you got owners, you've got DJs such as yourselves that have been in the game for a long time. It really gives an opportunity to show what you're made of in a very crowded market, if you will.
Right.
And thus take advantage of technology. And when we're back in the clubs, you never know who you're going to link up with.
Yeah, and I think it's a great networking opportunity too because, look, in general, everyone knows this, that the Instagram algorithm and the Facebook algorithm, you don't see everyone's posts. And this routinely happens to me all the time. And I know, Cam, you feel the same way, is I'll be thinking about someone and I'll go, man, I haven't seen posts from that person in a while. And I go to their page and they have all this great content, all these new posts, right, in their stories, and it's just not coming up in my algorithm for some reason. And so then I go and I like and comment on their photos, and now all of a sudden every other day I get something from them. So I think it's interesting how sometimes the computers are dictating to us what we see. So to drive the point home to what you're doing when you put the the Ledge Fest thing together, or just in general sense of community around with DJs to organize the schedule and cross promote it. It helps give some cross transparency, and it's bringing some new content into my feed.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. We've all started somewhere. Let's be very, very clear. We've had a mentor. We were given an opportunity, whether it was a fellow DJ, a friend, a promoter, an owner. I mean, your parents supported you, whoever it was. We all started somewhere, and this is just another pillar in that stepping stone or that journey, if you will. So, for those that have gotten involved, that personally, individuals I hadn't heard of, and now I know them. I'm connected with them on Instagram. To your point, they're showing up in my live feeds. I'm listening to their live sets, and I'm like, wow, these guys vibe out. Do you know what they're doing? And to go back to what I initially said, it's a very crowded marketplace. Everybody wants what everybody has. They want this gig. They want that gig. I think now, and I always try to find the silver lining in everything. I'm a glass half full type of guy. It's a very unfortunate period of time for our country, for this earth. But as it pertains to our little world, I think it's bringing our community together along, with this show and you guys know the Get Down guys are doing some really good stuff. Giving some pointers out to fellow DJs. Just a really good energy, and I'm just trying to play into all that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Ledge Fest is awesome, and it may become...
Ledge!
I hope it doesn't last too long, but it might just become the longest running festival of all time.
Listen, it's a freebie, baby. No fees.
It's a free fees. DJ festival. What's better than that?
No age limit. I have people sending me videos of their kids listening to Tech Tuesdays and dancing along. My mom told me she was jazzercise. We're having the time of our lives.
It's great, man.
From home, virtually.
There's no drug sniffing dogs on the way in. You could do whatever you want while you watch it. Whatever. No one's judging you.
No security. The only security I've got is the boss, Amarette. That's it.
Shout out to Emma.
Once it's dinner time, it's time to clean up.
All right, so we're gonna move over to this next segment here. So you got your wine ready, Cam?
Cam, you might need to grab ammo. You're gonna need more wine for this next segment.
Oh boy.
All right, here we go. So this is what we're starting up here. So we got a couple jokes here we're gonna read to you. The name of the game here is Keep a Straight Face. Chris is gonna keep tally. No reaction whatsoever. So if you want to stretch it out, get your last laugh out here.
Get your last laugh in. Come on, Cam. You got this.
Ow now, brown cow. Ledge.
All right. If I call it out, you gotta take a sip because you don't have shots, so you gotta take a sip.
If I lose it, which I probably will, just like Fisher, I will be drinking that wine.
And every time you take a sip, you gotta whine with one hand and you gotta go like this with the other.
Okay, my hand is ready.
Here we go. All right, here we go. We're gonna take it serious now. Clear it up. All right. And we're gonna take bets over unders on the socials right now between Facebook and YouTube. I think Cam will be able to keep it together. Chris, what do you think?
I'm gonna give him 4. He'll laugh for 4 of them. 4 out of 6. I'm gonna give him.
Wow. He just gave you 50%.
The production team spent some time here on these.
Listen, if you bat 300 in the majors, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So let's go.
All right, here we go.
You ready?
Here we go. So this is this we're calling this skit. Keep a straight face. Where do the All right, here we go. Ready?
Wait. I'm not ready.
There was too much.
All right, here we go.
We overhyped this, guys. Come on.
Here we go.
Calm down. Keep it cool. Let's go.
Here's a skit. Keep a straight face. Where do beef burgers go to dance? The meatball. 1-0.
You can't just mute it, Cam. Come on.
What?
I said you can't just mute the speakers.
No, I heard it. I love meatballs. I kept a straight face.
All right, number 2. What did sushi A say to sushi B? Wasabi.
I saw a slight smirk. All right, come on. Let's do a little hand flip. You got to take a sip. Come on.
Take a sip.
Come on.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
All right.
dun, dun,
All right, here we go.
What is this, college all over again?
Step up
Am
to
I
the-
pledging a fraternity here? What's going on?
Step up to the box.
All right, I got this.
What did one ocean say to the other?
I
Nothing.
don't know, Brian.
They just waved.
All right. You got that one.
All right, he's 2-1. 2-1. All right, batter, approach the box. Cam, would you like to hear a construction joke?
I would.
Well, I'm still working on it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Cheers to that one. I'm gonna try the right hand. Yeah, no, I'm lefty, so this is gonna be weird.
Yeah,
today.
do it. Let's go. While you're sipping the whole time. You got to keep it going.
All right, it was a wine sip, not a chug. Here we go.
I gotta.
All right, we got
I gotta
2 left.
enjoy the grapes. My
got-
father's watching.
All right, we got 2 left here. We got 2 left here. Shake it out. All right. So, Cam, 2 hot dogs are walking down the street. One suddenly turns and says to the other, "Mike, your wiener is showing."
Oh, that's not even fair. What? Anybody's gonna laugh if you say wiener. That's that's ridiculous.
Just take a sip of the wine. Here we go. We're going. All right.
You
All right, last one.
Choke on it. Slow down a second. He's got to finish drinking. Let's go. Woo. All
right.
I'm crying. I never cry. Woo. Let's go.
Wait, what's my score right now?
All right, last one here.
3. You're 3 for 2. So you laugh for 3 of them.
All right, I got this.
So I win if you laugh this next one.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Whiskey Chris over here is cracking me up. All right, here we go. Cam, what does Snoop Dogg use for an umbrella?
Not quite sure.
Faux drizzle.
Oh, that's not even fair, man. You can't bring Snoop Double G into this.
You can't try and hold it
You
in.
know
That
I
makes
love
it
dad
worse.
jokes. This was not fair.
The laugh
I
is-
laugh at anything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, everyone on the feeds right there. That was how to make Cam laugh. Unfortunately, he went. What was the total score?
4 out of 6, as I predicted.
We got him 4 out of 6. So we're gonna log that Cam's total score here, and we're gonna keep a running tally here.
Woo! This is going into Parlor Talk history right here.
Oh man, I got to tell you, I look forward to the show every night, 8 p.m.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Everyone that's over on the Facebook feed, thank you so much. If you guys are listening, what would really mean a lot to us if you could head over to our YouTube, youtube.com/ClassKills, and go subscribe to our channel. That way you know every time we go live here on YouTube, you guys will get a notification. So it would really mean a lot to us, myself, Chris, Cam, the God and Father who's listening right now. If you go over there, subscribe to our channel. And that would really mean a lot as we try to grow.
Yeah,
grow
shout
the
out
show.
to our associate production manager, Gould. I know he's tuned in.
He does get some credit on some of these questions. I
Now, if
will
only
say.
we had a light guy to kind of spruce up the scenery a bit.
Well, he'd probably screw it up, so it's better that he's not here.
All right.
Oh, man. What
So-
else is going on, guys?
So, Cam, since we ended with Snoop Dogg here, what's your favorite Snoop Dogg song?
Drop it like it's hot. Of course.
Same.
10 out of 10.
It's a fucking club banger every time.
All right, listen, I do it. Each one of you have done it. Gold Digger, drop it like it's hot. It's like the go-to. We all know it. All right, we all look forward to it. Somehow people are still surprised by it, but but we're doing it and we're gonna keep rolling with it.
It's fucking great every time.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So next segment here. Chris is going to read these ones out. So, Chris, what's the name of this segment?
I am so ready.
All right, Cam, here it goes.
What's it? Introduce the segment.
The name of the segment, I got this. The name of the segment is What Do You Do When?
What do you do when? Okay,
Yes.
I'm on it.
All right. So it's a scenario based segment. You need to respond. What do you do when something happens? And I'm going to read you what's going to happen.
Very fair. We need to be ready.
All right. DJ Cam, when you're in the club, what do you do?
I don't even know the question and I'm laughing already.
It's
You see
great.
it?
You want me to read?
DJ Cam, what do you do when you can't reach the mixer?
You blow the horn. You blow the horn. What else is there to do?
All right.
Set yourself up for that one.
All right. Question
Let me
2.
tell you something. I've had the great fortune of blowing the DJ's horn. I've done it. It's spectacular.
Great horn every time.
Great horn.
Talk about an adrenaline rush, right?
It is adrenaline rush times 10.
Speaking of horns, similar to horns, what do you do when the light guy misses the drop?
I ask him to go get me another Bud Light and or Coors Light.
Fair.
Okay, fair. All right, now this next question, Slav, I think you already know what it is. I'm going to try my best to hold it together.
I got this one. All right. He's got it.
I got it. Cam,
Oh, boy.
what do you do when a girl comes up to you and asks you to shout out my girl?
All right. We're going to skip this one.
What? That's ridiculous. I got family watching. It's ridiculous. But I mean, listen,
All right,
we're DJs. We're ready for anything. If that were to happen, I would not shout that.
Yeah.
out.
Do you take birthday shout outs?
It happened once, I swear.
So actually, I have a theory on birthday shout outs. The answer is yes. And the reason why I say yes, and this is invaluable information for DJs everywhere. If individual X is asking me to say happy birthday to individual Y, the chances are they are there with quite a few individuals. Thus, when I shout them out, the whole crew is going to go nuts. It brings another set of energy, like another level of energy to the party. Thus, they will stay longer. They will spend more money at the bar. Everybody's happy. I'm happy. I'm vibing off the energy. So yes, again, now people can get a little aggressive. We all know that when it comes to birthday shout outs. It's just a matter of managing it, appropriately. I don't recommend you shouting out a birthday like when you're like about to drop a bomb, meaning like, maybe during like a down period of the song, but not when like Calling's playing or Booyah's playing and it's about to drop. It's like, oh, by the way, like happy 21st birthday, Kathy in the building. Like, no, like that can't happen.
I think that's a good theory, and I don't agree with like saying no completely. I think it is all about kind of what David S. and I were talking about a couple
Yes.
episodes ago, was like be respectful, approach at the right time, ask nicely, write it down on a napkin. Like we're there to kind of entertain the people, and you don't want to like a bad rap as like people talking shit about like that DJ that wouldn't take the song requests like type thing.
And I think David S. and you spoke about it too. Like, you never know who that person is. Like, for all we know, that's like owner's best friend. they come and ask for a birthday shout out, and you're either like disrespectful or you completely ignore it. Gets back to owner. Owner at the end of the night says, "Hey, like when people ask for birthday requests, it's like kind of a part of the deal." I think it's just managing it appropriately and understanding when and where. Like there's a time and place for everything. That's when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and I think you just got to spread them out because sometimes I feel like they snowball. You
Now-
do one, and then there's like next thing you know, you got 20 people lined up at the booth asking for birthday shout outs, and you're just like, whoa, slow down here.
No, 100%. Now, again, they are, they have a lot of energy to them. So a few at a time is not too bad. I would say, again, to be mindful, like you have to know your tracks. So like if you know an important vocal is coming up or if you know that the drop is coming up, like you need to be strategic there. I know it kind of sounds silly, but like there really is a science behind that.
No, that's good. All right, Chris, what else you got? What do you do when you have any left?
Oh, no, that was it. We had 3. You said everything's in 3s, so I kept it to 3.
Perfect. No, that's a good vibe, man. So, are you collecting new music as you go? Like, obviously, people have a lot of time right now. We're on the computers, downloading and stuff like that. Are you actively going after new tracks? Where are you getting your music from? Like, talk to me about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I spoke about it a little bit last week. It's important to stay up on your crates. I know a lot of us have been working on it now, but just keeping yourself organized. I think Jeff Scott actually talked about like knowing where certain things are in certain crates. Like we all have crazy names for our crates, and like DJs, I want you to know that that's completely okay. I myself have some funny names for my crates as well. But it's, again, and we spoke about it last week, it's muscle memory. So just making sure that stuff is in a good place. It's organized appropriately. Your clean edits versus your dirty edits, depending on the party you're playing. Old hip-hop versus new hip-hop versus trap versus 90s throwbacks versus 2000s throwback. Like, you really want to know where all that stuff is. So when you're in the moment, we all know this, like, it is full-on crowd control. How do I keep that bar packed, or how do I keep that club packed? How do I keep them spending money? Okay. And how do I keep the energy high? And also, again, very important skill that, again, you talked about like repetition and just doing this for a while. It's also important to give some people a break. If you stay too high, too long, you're going to burn people out. They're going to leave the club. Thus, they're not going to spend money at the bar. They're not going to buy more bottles. We're all human, okay? As much as we like to think that we could just keep going and going and going, like there needs to be some lulls to the action. So knowing when and where to kind of place that into your night. But again, to go back to your original question, very, very important to keep up on your music. We've talked about TikTok endlessly on this segment.
Too much.
Something that we could all do better. But, look at that one song, Ride It. Right? That's like a top BPM hit straight from TikTok. Like, it's just embracing technology, embracing different, music sources. Like, we all support Digital Music Pool here. I love MP3 Music Pool, love Beatport, love old-fashioned iTunes, love old-fashioned, just listening to a mix and, doing some, good old-fashioned Shazamming.
Love Shazamming.
But, I mean, listen, we live in the information world, right? Like, that's the day of age that we live in. So why not take advantage of it? I think I listened to a Clutch, mix a couple of weeks ago, and he dropped some like hammer future house edit of that. It's called like Basa Camigos or like the horns track. Like
Yeah.
Brr, 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 brr,
Yeah.
brr, brr, like that track. Like,
Oh,
and I was
that
like,
was.
wow,
Can you
like,
keep
that's
going
a
with
cool
that?
edit.
That was really good.
Be careful, you might
Can I
get
do
a
that one more
meme.
time? Was I in pitch? Was I on key?
You were mixed in key for sure.
All right, now here, I want you to take it an octave lower, and then we'll hum it together. Ready? 1, 2. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
That's awesome. Well, everyone that's on the live feeds right now, shout out to my man DJ Cam. Thank you for coming in with us today.
No, my total pleasure, guys.
Awesome. So, Cam, we will catch you probably on a FaceTime, hopefully in person soon. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
No, appreciate being here, guys. Thank you, each and every one of you. For real. Look forward to this segment every night, 8 p.m. Eastern and Eastern Standard Time. And for those that want to follow me that are watching, at DJ__Cam. That is my Instagram. Follow me. Appreciate you guys very much.
Ledge official.
Ledge official. Cam, hang in there. We're not going to hang up yet, but everyone that's following us on the Facebook, hop over to our YouTube, youtube.com/ClassKills. Go subscribe for us. That would really mean the world, so you know you get notifications when we're going live. And we're looking forward to just keeping the show rolling. As long as we can possibly go, we're going to go every single day. Tomorrow night, we have a really awesome lineup. Three awesome industry people. So the first is Sal Cianci. From Staten Island, New York. This guy is producing some awesome music, and he's putting out some really cool tracks, and he also is involved in the DMP. So we're going to talk a little bit about music programming, and his role as the program director over there at DMP. And then followed up with a New Jersey duo, arguably the hottest tech duo that's coming out of this area, RSAM, Ricky and Andrew, two close friends of mine who are doing some awesome things, and they're going to continue to excel. So we're excited to host both of them tomorrow on the episode 9 of the Parlor. So Parlor Talk tomorrow night. Check us here, 8 o'clock. Cam, thanks, man. Be safe. And everyone,
be safe,
please
guys.
Follow our page, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.